Welcome. I am so incredibly excited to have you here today. As an explainer, my absolute favorite thing in the world is breaking down massive, unforgettable internet moments. And today we are looking at something truly historic. I'm going to walk you through an unprecedented clash of internet icons. I want you to imagine grabbing the computer of a 17-year-old, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, looking at their subscription feed, and then just dropping all those legendary creators into a giant cube. Because that is exactly what happened here. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's decode exactly how this chaotic, super nostalgic tournament actually played out.
Let's start with the number that kicked this whole shebang off, 500 million. Yeah, 500 million subscribers. This mind-boggling milestone is the entire catalyst for this event. Reaching 500 million subscribers is an achievement that basically defies logic, right? And to celebrate it, the stage was set for a massive reunion of internet royalty. But this wasn't just some casual party. It was an intense, high-stakes competition.
And waiting at the end of that competition, a cool $1 million. 50 old-school YouTube legends. We're talking the massive stars from 10 to 15 years ago. Folks like Fred, who was literally the very first channel to ever hit 1 million subscribers, were locked inside a cube. The last person to leave that cube would win this staggering $1 million prize. But here's the kicker. It wasn't for themselves. It was directly for their subscribers.
But honestly, what anchors all this high-stakes chaos is genuine emotion, perfectly captured in this quote. The host explicitly said that without these specific creators, he'd probably be working at Walmart right now. I mean, these people were responsible for some of the most viral videos in history. They built the platform's foundation from the ground up, totally paving the way for the current generation. So this tournament was really built as the ultimate way of giving back to the exact people who inspire the journey.
Okay, let's jump right into the games. Phase 1 and 2, cake cars and bottle flips.
The opening trap was deceptively simple. Imagine walking in and seeing 5 shiny Lamborghinis sitting right in front of you. The catch? One of them is made entirely of cake. The rules were, stand by a real Lamborghini to move on, but if you stand by the cake one, you're instantly eliminated. The psychological mind games here were just insane. Creators were literally studying the reflections, and a few noticed that the windows on car number 4 didn't seem quite as shiny as the rest. So when the Corridor Digital team stepped off their spot for a closer look, Roman Atwood instantly swooped in and stole it. This set off a frantic chain reaction of spot stealing with Dude Perfect and Philip DeFranco. And the devastating result? Car number 4 was in fact the cake. Everyone trapped on that line was sent packing before the games even really got started.
Now, this event wasn't just a survival game. It honestly doubled as a walking history lesson of viral internet trends. After that brutal cake elimination, the remaining players were teamed up to take a trip down memory lane. And that brings us right into the immense pressure of the 2016 water bottle flip challenge. You had absolute legends in there, like Dude Perfect, who have over 1 billion views doing trick shots, frantically passing on advice to under-rotate the bottle. It was a mad dash to be the first 3 teams to have all 10 players successfully land a bottle flip on a table.
And man, the ruthless math of survival set in so fast. In a game like the water bottle flip, an entire team's fate completely rests on the shoulders of those final few members. Despite incredible tension, these massive comebacks, and frantic cheers of more flick on the wrist, the blue team sadly ended up in last place. That meant beloved childhood icons, vloggers, pranksters, and creators who literally ran the platform for a decade were systematically wiped out in one fell swoop, all because they couldn't land a piece of plastic on a table in time.
Moving right along, things get even crazier. Phase 3 and 4, mannequins and molten lava. So, the curtains drop to reveal just hundreds of mannequins. The task? Identify the 5 real humans hidden amongst them. The trick was they'd only move slightly when the copyrighted beat to the Harlem Shake dropped. The creators immediately realized, okay, no one can do this solo, so they form alliances, sweeping the room in a clockwise direction to spot any movement. But, as you know, survival makes people ruthless. Creators who weren't even on these teams were actively watching their peers, ruthlessly stealing their input numbers just to secure one of the precious top 15 spots. They were literally sending major OG vloggers and trickshotters home in the process. In Phase 4, the rules became incredibly severe. They took Flora's Lava, that childhood game you played with pillows in your living room, and turned it into a physically demanding team survival test. The top 15 were forced to handcuff themselves in groups of 3, and they were only given 2 stepping circles. The strategy meant they had to huddle on one circle, push the next one forward, and carefully scoot across. The stakes? One accidental touch of the floor by a single teammate meant all 3 players were instantly eliminated. No second chances. And guys,
You literally could not script a more ironic moment than this. In a room full of people whose lives were completely changed by this platform, one of the competitors was Chad Hurley. Yes, the actual co-founder of YouTube. He created the stage, and these creators brought the talent. Yet during the frantic race across the lava, a video review confirmed that Chad accidentally touched the floor. The man who co-founded the very website hosting the video was brutally eliminated, taking his handcuffed teammates right down with him.
All right, things are getting super tense now. Phase 5, the Spicy Chip Showdown.
So, the remaining competitors faced this agonizing game of cat and mouse. The rules were simple, but honestly brutal. The creator with the oldest channel gets to pick whether they want to be the eater or the guesser, and they get to choose their opponent. One person eats a chip, it's either a regular one or a blistering hot chip rated at over 2 million units on the Scoville scale. The opponent has to stare at their face and guess which chip they just ate. Guess wrong? You go home. Guess right? The eater goes home.
What happened next was just an absolute masterclass in deception. Cute girl hairstyles and incredibly tenured creator chose to be the guesser and put Jelly right in the hot seat to eat the chip. Jelly consumed this brutally hot 2 million Scoville chip and gave absolutely nothing away. I mean, no sweating, no crying, nothing. He maintained a flawless, non-reactive poker face. His opponent analyzed his eyes, his breathing, and ultimately guessed he ate the regular, non-spicy chip. Because she guessed incorrectly, she was eliminated. And literally the second she was out, Jelly immediately called for milk, admitting he was basically dying inside.
So, out of 50 legendary creators who started this absolute gauntlet, surviving Cake Lamborghinis, high-pressure bottle flips, mannequin hunts, lava, and 2 million Scoville chips, only 3 remained. Alia, Jelly, and Phil successfully outlasted 47 of their peers. The massive herd had officially been thinned down to this elite final 3.
And that brings us to the grand finale, the ultimate Minecraft battle.
Now, you might be wondering, why decide $1 million tournament with Minecraft? Well, because it is arguably the most popular video game in the world, and it's deeply embedded in the platform's DNA. The host himself stated that Minecraft was actually the very first video on his channel, and he's made over 2,000 videos on it since. It's a game that fundamentally shaped the history of internet content, making it just the perfect battleground for these final 3 legends. They were given exactly 1 hour to build the best Minecraft house they possibly could.
But hold on, because here is the massive twist that changes absolutely everything. The host visited the Motrin Recharge Lounge, where all 47 eliminated contestants were resting, and dropped a bombshell. They were all coming back for the final challenge. The eliminated creators hold the ultimate power. They are the ones who will vote and decide which of the 3 Minecraft builds actually wins the $1 million. Suddenly, every single friendship made and every alliance broken in those previous rounds becomes incredibly crucial. Before we look at those final builds, we've got to take a brief, super cool detour. While the final 3 were frantically building away, the CEO of YouTube, Neil, made a surprise appearance. To celebrate that historic 500 million subscriber milestone, he gifted a custom, one-of-a-kind subscriber award designed specifically in the host's channel colors. It was just an awesome moment of recognition for a truly unfathomable achievement, happening right as the clock was ticking down on the $1 million build.
Okay, back to the game. As the 1-hour timer is literally counting down to 0, we saw 3 entirely different approaches to win over that crowd of 47 peers. Phil went highly structured, aiming for a nostalgic, welcoming treehouse fortress complete with rose bushes. Alia focused on his own unique, slightly mysterious architectural approach. And then, there's Jelly. Jelly went completely outside the box, building this quirky, highly specialized house specifically designed for a character he called Little Jimmy the Bee.
So it all comes down to this final question. The timer's up. 50 legends walked in, and now 47 eliminated peers are stepping up to cast their votes. Are they going to vote for Phil's welcoming treehouse fortress, Alia's unique mysterious design, or Jelly's highly unusual bee house? Who truly captured the nostalgia and respect of their peers to win $1 million for their fans? Take a look at these strategies and ask yourself, if you were standing in that room right now holding a voting token, whose build would you choose to crown as the ultimate YouTube legend?